Hello, I'm Elzbieta Fallenbaum, Principal Analyst at IHS Technology, and I'm here today with Gerry McQuade, CEO at BT Enterprise. So Gerry, I'm really sorry, I missed your keynote today on 5G use cases and vertical monetization. So could you please summarize it for me in a couple of sentences?
Yeah, I can do that. The key question that was being asked, and I think it's the question that everybody's asking, is how do we monetize 5G?
Yeah.
And I run the enterprise division in BT, so that question is always passed to me because everybody thinks it's an enterprise opportunity, and I think it is. What I was trying to say though is that to really monetize 5G is part of a really once in a generational change in our industry, but it's only part of it. You know, when you think of the things that are coming in that affect us as an industry in terms of software-defined networks or virtualization, but also our customers are affected by AI and you know, consumerization of their businesses, big data. We need to think about how we build solutions that looks across all of that disruption. So that was trying to say is we not only need to get behind 5G, but we need to get behind that disruption and understand what it means for us as an industry. How do we support our customers through that? And if we do that, then we can create some value for ourselves.
Okay. And so you mentioned virtualization. So could you be more specific in terms of how it's going to change the industry, how it's where the potential ventures?
Well, I think it's you know, I do think virtualization is a key element, and we will certainly see a number of sort of opportunities for the industry to utilize virtualization, and we're seeing people talking about what they're going to do in networks, what they're going to do in the fixed network, fixed and mobile networks. I do think it's just one part of a broader change, and I think if we get fixated on one piece of the technology, I think we'll be very narrow in our thinking about how we respond to it. And that was the key part I was trying to say today, actually, is we need to think bigger, bolder, broader, because only by doing that will we actually deliver the breadth of solutions that allow us to get beyond the connectivity part of the value chain.
Yeah. So if we think about 5G to be in enterprise offerings, what are going to be the new enterprise offerings?
So what I highlighted today was that certainly there are definite opportunities on pure connectivity. But we have focused on 7 different work streams that we think actually allow us to play and actually allow us to test some of the models. So what I highlighted in this speech was things like broadcast. We've done some work already, working with the BBC. Within a day of launching our 5G network, we were showing how you can use 5G in broadcasting. Within 2 months, we were showing how we can use remote medicine. We did but we also were talking about areas such as logistics and manufacturing, edge computing, campuses, private networks. I think all of those things actually require us to be thinking about how we co-create them. If we think about it purely as a connectivity play from the network out, I think we'll miss the opportunity. What we're trying to do is actually bring our customers in, look about how we co-create, and actually build broader and deeper solutions.
Yeah. So you've already mentioned some industries, but are there any in particular that you would be targeted with 5G enterprise offerings?
Yeah, as I say, we've looked at broadcast, we've looked at health, we've looked at smart cities, we've looked at logistics. We do see those as important use cases where we think there's early value, early interest, and an easy path to co-create. But the underlying capability is a bit like IoT generally. You can look at verticals, but what you build, ultimately you realize there's a lot of horizontal capability that opens up new industries. So whilst I see those as good starting points, they're just starting points.
Yeah. And so if we think about operators, where do you think with these services, where do you think operators can make the most money?
Well, I think one of the key points I was trying to make in there is that connectivity is very hard, but as technology shifts and better connectivity capabilities are developed, we've struggled to get extra value for that. So we invest the money, but we don't necessarily get the increase in value. Where we see, and we think there's about 50% of the value is about stepping up the value chain. And what we see already today is our customers are becoming more and more concerned about their ability to manage even the change that's happened already. So we think in a nutshell, managed services are a really important part of creating value.
Yeah, and we're at Broadband World Forum. It's the biggest industry event of the year. So if you were to describe it in 3 words, what would you say?
Well, for us, actually, I think there's always a lot of innovation. You hear a lot of, it's a very broad ecosystem of people speaking, so there's always innovation. Collaboration is really important, and it's present. It really is, and the latest ideas coming to market.
And I know you've only got here last night, but what have been the highlight, or what are you looking most forward to if you get a chance to catch up anything?
Well, I've not seen anything yet. I came in and I've just done my speech. So I think we've just been talking to my colleagues, and there's a lot of people speaking. I mean, I think what we're looking at is just really excited around some of the technology ideas that are coming through, because 5G is really just at the start of its journey. And what we're looking at is just where are the technology ideas, what's the timing for those things, because the path of capital investment at the moment is very tough, and the more we can see just where is it moving, how quickly will it come, what will the cost base be, those things are really important.
And if we look at BT as general, where do you see the company contributing to a better digital world, kind of in a broader sense?
Well, that's an interesting question, because last week we actually did our first phase of where we see the business needs to go. So we rebranded our business last week, and we talked about very openly about where we're developing the network, where we're developing our products, where we're developing our services. But a really important part of that announcement was we recognise that businesses are struggling with this journey, and especially SMEs. In the UK, we think there's an £85 billion productivity gap because they don't really understand it. So in the next 5 years, we've taken the challenge to ourselves that free of charge, we will make sure that we invest in 1 million businesses to create enhanced digital skills. And I think most large companies recognise they need to be much more purposeful, and actually that type of thing is really important.
And thinking ahead 5 years, what do you think will be the 3 most important technologies going forward?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I do think 5 years is a very feels like a long time, but I do think 5G will become massively important. But we've seen there was a speaker on just before me talking about 5G doesn't work without a fixed network. So I think 5G, full fiber, those two things, I think then in what sits above that in terms of software, intelligent networks, allowing us to work across all of the different technologies, those were the 3 things for me.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, nice talking to you.
Thank you.